We are on a mission to find the most consistently average hitter of all time. And I don't mean that in a negative way. To be an average hitter, you have to be better than about half the league. So we're looking for a player who was never a bad hitter, but also never a great hitter. We're looking for a true middle-of-the-pack guy. So how are we going to find this player? First, let's eliminate players who played in the dead ball era. Mainly because I'm not that interested in making a video about some guy named Buttercup Dickerson who played for the Worcester Ruby Legs in 1881. Actually, maybe that would be fun. Anyway, from there, let's hop on Baseball Reference and search for players with the most seasons with an OPS plus between 90 and 110. Why? Because we're looking for a consistently average hitter. Every season, a league average hitter is exactly 100 in OPS plus. So if you stay within that 90 to 110 range, that means you're never more than 10% away from league average in either direction. This search gave us 35 players who have at least 9 seasons with an OPS plus between 90 and 110. As we browsed through these players, we quickly noticed that Willie McGee has a career OPS plus of exactly 100. Perfect! This is exactly who we're looking for, a guy who finished his career at exactly the league average. But when you look a little closer, you see that McGee won the National League MVP in 1985. He won the batting title in 85 with a .353 average, and he also led the league in hits. We're looking for the most average hitter of all time here, not an MVP. Sorry, Willie, but you're not the guy we're looking for. So what about the other 6 players who had a whopping 11 seasons within that OPS plus range we're looking at? Brandon Phillips won a Silver Slugger award in 2011. That doesn't sound average to me. Kenny Lofton led the league in hits and finished 4th in MVP voting in 1994. B.J. Surhoff finished 6th in the AL in doubles in 93, 6th in batting average in 95, and 2nd in hits in 1999. Not amazing, but definitely not average. Willie Randolph won a Silver Slugger in 1980 and posted 3 different seasons with an OPS plus over 120. Who does this guy think he is? Babe Ruth? And Buddy Myer won a batting title in 1935. No room for batting titles here, buddy. Now, this does leave us with Devon White. White had an excellent major league career from 1985 to 2001, winning 7 Gold Gloves in the outfield and making 3 All-Star teams. But at the plate, he was exceptionally average. He finished his career with an OPS plus of 98, and he never had a truly standout season. But he did finish in the top 10 in hits and total bases in 1991, and he finished top 10 in doubles in 2 different seasons. If you're a top 10 guy in multiple categories in multiple seasons, are you really the most average hitter of all time? My gut tells me no. Let's keep searching. As we go down the list, the same story goes for all the players with 10 seasons in our OPS plus range. Let's keep looking. Here's our guy. The exceptionally decent, the extremely mundane, Orlando Hudson. Now, I want to stress again, we're not talking about WAR here, which compares players to replacement level or AAA hitters. We're looking for a legitimate major league player, and that's what Orlando Hudson was. He had 4 seasons with an OPS plus above league average. He hit 30 doubles 3 times. He hit 300 in 2008, and he even hit for the cycle on April 13, 2009. But Hudson never stood out in any major way. His career totals are the kind that make you say, okay, pretty decent career. But there is literally nothing on his baseball card stats that pop out. Career high in runs scored, 87. Career high in home runs, 15. Career high in walks, 62. Heck, the guy never even struck out 100 times in a season. The only major hitting category Hudson ever cracked the top 10 in was triples, which was more a product of his speed than his hitting prowess. For me personally, if you ask me, what's an average MLB player look like when it comes to batting average and OPS? I would say maybe a .275 average and a .750 OPS. Over 11 seasons, Hudson finished with a .273 batting average and a .752 OPS, exactly 2 points away from each of those benchmarks. And the most mind-bogglingly average thing about Orlando Hudson was that over 11 seasons, he truly never stayed too far away from the mean. He never had a great season, and he never had a terrible season, at least not until his final season at age 34, but we'll give him a pass on that one. Father Time wins again. But in his first 10 seasons, he never posted an OPS plus that was more than 13% away from league average, either positively or negatively. And in fact, he stayed within 10% of league average 9 times, and within 6% of league average 6 times. Let's finish with one more insanely average stat for Orlando Hudson. RBAT is a stat that tracks the number of runs better or worse than average a player was at the plate each season. In truly consistent fashion, Hudson never had a season more or less than 9 runs away from league average. For comparison, in 2022 alone, there were 187 players who posted an RBAT outside of those parameters. Since I'm a Cardinals fan, let's use 4 random Cardinals from the 1990s as an example of how most guys experience highs and lows in their career in the RBAT stat. Here are career highs and lows for Ron Gant, Bernard Gilkey, Gary Gaetti, and Brian Jordan. These types of numbers are pretty typical for guys who are good enough to stay in the league for 10 or more years. Some really good seasons, and some pretty bad seasons. And here's Orlando Hudson. Hudson went 11 seasons without ever straying more than 9 runs from league average. And his grand total for his career was only a negative 13, meaning that after 11 seasons in the majors, Hudson was only 13 runs different than the exact definition of a league average hitter. Now, it would be a crying shame to make a video about Orlando Hudson without talking about what really kept him in the league for 11 seasons, which was his glove. When you look for clips of Hudson online, you find more WebGem videos than anything else. Hudson won 4 Gold Glove awards at second base, and at the time of his retirement, he was second among active second basemen in defensive range factor, behind only Ian Kinsler. But even with 4 Gold Gloves, Hudson had a career that the Baseball Collective will mostly forget about. In most respects, he won't stand out historically much at all. But in one area, Hudson might be the true GOAT. He just might be the most consistently average hitter of all time.